The diver's friends have made several attempts to find him, and Ed Sorensen is their last hope.
Hey, Helen. Ed Sorensen. How are you feeling for warmth and everything?
The pitch blackness, save for the glow of a lamp, the emptiness, save for the jagged walls of a cave, the quiet, save for the sound of your own breath in your ears. Few words can describe cave diving better than strange and terrifying, and although many find beauty in the mystery of underwater labyrinths, there is one word that describes cave diving that some people often overlook: deadly. Here are 7 times when cave diving took a turn for the worse. 1. The Polonora Cave Tragedy. Known for his love of diving, 33-year-old Artur Konrad Kozłowski, a surveyor from Poznan, Poland, was a seasoned open-water diver who picked up a special affinity for cave exploration after he moved to Ireland. With about 13 warm open-water dives under his belt, Artur was fully aware that the challenges of cave diving surpassed those of the open sea. Yet, there was something about underwater cave exploration that appealed to him. He wanted to see how far the caves went, what caverns connected with others, how deep they really went. In 2007, he took up cave diving lessons under the tutelage of Welsh cave diving instructor Martin Farr, and from the get-go, it was clear he was a natural. Soon, he'd conquered many cave systems in Ireland and Spain, even setting the world record in 2008 for the deepest cave dive in Great Britain and Ireland. He recorded all his explorations on his blog.
Niosłem cały sprzęt, więc szczerze spodziewam się przekroczyć 100 metrów.
No one could doubt that Artur was a professional, which is why, when he left to explore the Polonora Cave on Saturday, September 3, 2011, his family, friends, and colleagues knew to be worried. Located in Kiltartan, County Galway, Ireland, the Polonora Cave is one that Artur had explored multiple times before. However, after 4 days of search, his body was found at a depth of 52 meters and approximately 810 meters from the entrance. To this day, no one knows what the exact reason for his death is, with the autopsy ruling out lack of air as a probable cause, as all his gear remained intact. 2. The Tank Cave Incident. This incident involved 29-year-old Agnes Maloka, an Australian diver, underwater photographer, maritime archaeologist, and author who had written multiple books on diving and maritime archaeology. Most important to this story is the fact that Agnes was a cave explorer who loved and was renowned for going deeper than other explorers had ever gone into cave systems across Australia and Florida.
Well, the good news is we're almost there. Had to dodge and weave all sorts of things in the river today.
Agnes was fearless, and it translated into her diving. In an interview with Blue Magazine, she said, "I didn't plan to become a technical diver. It just happened. It was a natural progression to want to dive deeper. I wanted to pursue largely untouched and pristine wrecks and explore further inside extensive cave systems." Unfortunately, on the 25th of February 2011, Agnes went into Tank Cave, a network of maze-like caves near Tantanoola in the southeast of South Australia, and never came out. With over 7 kilometers of diveable passage, Tank Cave is one of the longest underwater caves in Australia. She had explored the cave multiple times before, and it was one of her favorite dive spots in the region. However, during the expedition, she separated from her companions to explore an area of the cave that required divers to go solo. But during the dive, she began rapidly running out of air. The lack of oxygen caused her to become disoriented. Despite this, she tried to remain calm as she attempted to get herself out of danger. However, the passages were narrow and required aggressive movements. And the more she moved, the more silt was stirred up from the cave walls and floors, causing loss of visibility. Her body was found down at 66 feet deep and at about 1,270 feet away from the entrance. 3. The Zacuton Sinkhole. Death Shek Exley was a renowned American cave diver, so renowned that he's seen as one of the pioneers of cave diving and extreme deep scuba diving. His books, Basic Cave Diving, A Blueprint for Survival, and Caverns Miserables to Man, are like holy books in the sense that they're historically important to the world of cave diving. But in 1994, while attempting to set a record by diving into the world's deepest sinkhole, Shek's life was suddenly cut short at the age of 45. Zacaton is a thermal water-filled sinkhole located in Aldama municipality in the northeastern state of Tamaulipas, Mexico. At a total depth of about 1,080 foot, it is the deepest known water-filled sinkhole in the world. Sheck planned to descend to a depth of over 1,000 feet, and on April 6, 1994, Sheck Exley and his dive partner Jim Bowden dove into the Zacaton sinkhole. Sheck was using a device known as a closed-circuit rebreather, an oxygen set that recycles exhaled air and removes carbon dioxide, allowing for longer dives. With Bowden as his support diver, the two went down, following a guideline and reaching a depth of around 800 phi before things began to take a turn for the worse. Sheck's descent speed increased dramatically, leading to high-pressure nervous syndrome. Despite experiencing the symptoms of dizziness, tremor, vertigo, and nausea, Sheck decided to keep going. He reached 860 FT, but at some point, Jim had decided to turn around due to equipment challenges. Sheck kept going, but at 900 feet, all hell broke loose. Sheck's rebreather malfunctioned, and even though he switched to his backup, it failed too. Exley then switched to open-circuit scuba, a system that makes use of a regulator in which no gas is recycled. Sheck managed to reach a depth of 904 FT, but upon reaching the surface, Jim noticed his buddy never ascended. Sheck's body was found with his equipment tied around him and, although his exact cause of death is a mystery, it is believed he died due to the immediate decompression effects and other complications. 4. The Bushman's Hole tragedies. This incident ended in 2 deaths, not one, at Boesman's Gat Cave, or Bushman's Hole, a submerged freshwater cave in the northern Cape province of South Africa. It all started in 1994, when Deon Dyer, a South African recreational scuba diver, died at a depth of around 164 FT while helping a team prepare for a dive. The man had died on ascent, and the exact cause of his death remains unknown. However, this story takes us a decade further to 2004, when Australian scuba diver Dave Shaw discovered Deon's body in Bushman's Hole. Dave had gone on a deep dive in the caves with the goal of setting a new record when, at a depth of around 876 FT, he discovered Deon's long-lost body remarkably preserved in the cold water. Dave was determined to recover the body, but on 8th of January 2005, the recovery efforts went terribly wrong. Although the recovery involved multiple divers, experts advised Dave that Deon's body would be negatively buoyant, which means that the body would sink when moved from its spot. They came to this conclusion since the visible parts of the body had been reduced to the skeleton. What nobody knew was that, underneath his dry suit, Deon's body had turned into a soap-like substance known as adipocere, also known as corpse wax. Instead of sinking, the body began to float, and Dave got caught between the body and the wires, both of his diving can light and the body bag. Dave struggled to free himself, but ultimately suffered respiratory issues due to the high pressure. 3 days later, both of the bodies of Deon Dyer and Dave Shaw were pulled up as the dive team was retrieving their equipment.
The sounds you're hearing there are the divers below that's doing the filming.
5. Blue Hole KV Deeth, located along Route 66 east of Santa Rosa, New Mexico. The Blue Hole of Santa Rosa, or just the Blue Hole, is a small lakey that serves as a popular tourist attraction and swimming venue. It's also one of the most popular dive destinations in the US for scuba diving and training. However, beneath the calm blue lake, a series of caves lie that were the scene of a terrible tragedy in 1976, when 2 scuba divers from Oklahoma got lost inside and died. Our story takes place much more recently, 40 years after the incident that had the caves sealed to the public. In 2016, 43-year-old Shane Thompson, along with a group of other elite divers with the ADM Exploration Foundation, obtained permission to enter the caves for exploration. Shane, a scuba diving instructor from San Diego, went into the cave along with another diver, Mike Young, to map out new passages. At 194 feet deep, Mike went into a passage through a narrow space, and Shane followed him. With over 20 years of diving experience, including search and rescue and recovery operations, Shane was far from being a rookie. However, it wasn't part of the plan to follow Mike into the passage. The situation devolved quickly from there. As Mike started to exit the area, he kicked up silt as he swam, reducing the visibility in the area. He was following a safety line, but Shane tugged on the line hard enough to pull it out of Mike's hands. While Mike searched for the line, both divers became wedged in the narrow passageway. Shane then took a wrong turn and swam into an unmapped passage that led to a dead end. By the time Mike managed to turn around and find Shane, the man was dead. His body was recovered the next day.
On day one, our objective is going to be to rig the cave. Hopefully, we will rig the cave, get all the ropes set.
6. The Plura Cave diving disaster. On February 6, 2014, 5 Finnish divers went down to explore the Plura Cave system, or Pluragrada, located in Rana, Norway. The 5 men knew each other well, and although they didn't choose an overall leader, the first person to go in was a man named Patrick Gronqvist, closely followed by his good friend Jari Huotarinen. The 2 men were armed with underwater scooters. About 2 hours later, the second group, consisting of Vesa Rantanen, Jari Usimaki, and Kai Kankanen, went into the cave also with underwater scooters. Nothing seemed to be amiss, and the dive was going fine. Until, upon reaching the cave's deepest point, Jari Huotarinen's water scooter line got entangled under a rock. At first, Patrick wasn't aware of this. However, when he noticed Jari wasn't behind him, he went back only to find his friend struggling desperately. Because Jari was breathing fast as he struggled, he was rapidly losing oxygen. Patrick took the initiative to give him a cylinder of gas, but while Jari was switching mouthpieces, he started swallowing water. Patrick watched in horror as his friend died before his eyes at a depth of 364 feet. Jari's body and equipment blocked the passage, so Patrick couldn't go back to give the tragic news to the rest of the group. Knowing that, he continued towards the exit at Steinugelflaget Cave, the image of his dead friend's body haunting him. Meanwhile, the second group was going through their own set of challenges. Vasa was dealing with equipment entanglements, and he was quickly running out of dive time. Because of this, he kept going even after discovering Jari Huotarinen's body. Unknown to him, Jari Usimaki, who was behind him, had panicked after seeing Jari Huotarinen's body. Kai attempted to assist him, but Jari Usimaki died only a few feet away from the body of his friend. Kai continued on the perilous path alone, consumed by guilt of not being able to help his friend. The 3 divers reported the tragedy to the Norwegian authorities, each unaware of the other's fate. 7. The 1973 Mount Gambier cave diving accident. On May 28, 1973, a group of 9 divers descended into The Shaft, a flooded sinkhole near Mount Gambier in South Australia. The group managed to reach a depth of 98 feet. A group of 4 recreational divers, Stephen and Christine M. Millett, Gordon G. Roberts, and John H. Bockerman, became separated from the rest of the group and continued to dive further down than even they had planned. There was no guideline. Lost in the sinkhole, they eventually ran out of oxygen and drowned. Strange, terrifying, deadly. These tragedies are somber reminders of the inherent risks of cave diving. They are also reminders that, even with all the respect, caution, and deep understanding of diving, it only takes one mishap for everything to devolve into chaos.
It's been a couple of hours now, I think. I'm not sure. I was trying to find my way out and I can't, but I'm gonna stay here. I don't think that I went too far.